Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. Whoever you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And very glad to have with me back to the show, Council Chair Jessica Domangue. Jessica, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me again today.
All right. Of course, Terrebonne Parish Council District number 5. And I know one of those things that we always think about at this time of year, it's springtime, but we have some weather systems that come through that we get concerned about, especially because we have a lot of these southerly winds and it kind of impacts us. Let's talk a little bit about this weather that we're expecting in the next few days and how we're going to kind of deal with it.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to get some coastal weather. It's not a tropical system, but it's more of a coastal event, and so we're going to get a lot of winds with that. And so the levee district has put out a notification that they are looking to close some of the lock systems. And if you just bear with me, I want to read that to everyone.
Okay.
This is from the Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District. Possible floodgate closures due to coastal flood watch effective from April 10th, 2023 to April 13th, 2023. The following floodgates will be monitored for closure. Starting Monday, April 10th, 2023, Humboldt Canal, Bayou Terrebonne Lock, Bush Canal, Pontchartrain, and Lower Dew large floodgates may be affected. So they have not decided to close them yet. However, if they do, it will be notified on our social media platforms. I encourage everybody to follow Terrebonne Parish Emergency Preparedness because that's a really good site. They always give the most accurate and most up-to-date information when it comes to watches and warnings or floodgate closures or anything like that. So that's definitely a good resource for the parish.
Yeah, and it's a really good point. It's one of those things as we talk about these levee districts, and we need to take pride. We should take a great deal of pride in the fact that they do such a great job. Everything with Morganza to the Gulf. People hear that term, but I don't know that they realize the money, energy, effort, and the combination of dealing with both state and national entities about providing a lot of these options. We have these locks that we can close to protect our residents very easily.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, there's such a science behind it as well. I mean, they just don't open and close them on any given day. So there's definitely a science between why and how they do what they do. But we've got some really, really, really great people who are involved in that in our levee district. And so we are blessed here in Terrebonne Parish. And, a lot of that we taxed ourselves as well. And so we need to pat ourselves on the back and, congratulate ourselves because we have a world-renowned lock system and levee system, protection system. And so it's something to be very, very proud of.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, we talk about that website and being able to deal with it. Earl Hughes and their team over at the Office of Emergency Preparedness do such a great job because of the good communication. And not only is it the fact, and you bring up a really good point, the people need to feel really good about how we're protecting ourselves because we've taxed ourselves heavily to make sure that we have these things. And whether we got the government money or the state funding or not, we were already prepared to do these kinds of things. And I love the fact that we put out this information that says, listen, some information has come to us to know that we may need to close these, especially with all the people in the fisheries industries.
Absolutely.
And just letting them know what's going to happen. Again, it's another good example of one of those gates that's down the bayou. And so, Jason, we appreciate that very much. This is Cocodrie, which is a lower Little Caillou down in Cocodrie. And again, it's just one of those locks that we know that we have available. I think you got a shot of the Pontchartrain locks as well. Pontchartrain is one that was mentioned on the list. So we may have to close the one down in Pontchartrain. And so, Jessica, it's just one of those things that as we show this, we really need to feel very proud of what we have the capability of doing. There are so many people that see these systems come through and they don't know what to do. But we can think about it ahead of time.
Absolutely. And, I don't think this work is ever going to be completed. I think that this is going to be a lifelong process for us. And we've got, great people in place to be able to continue that process. And we're really, really proud of that. But, we always talk about, I hear people say, well, why do we have so much focus on the locks or why do we have so much focus on the levees? Well, if we don't protect the people within those locks, with that flood protection, there's no point of building anything else because we're going to be underwater. And so what we have done and what we continue to do is so very, very important.
Yeah, it's one of those things, talking with the levee districts, and both of them, Terrebonne and Lafourche, talking about how we're at 8 feet now, and that's not enough. At 12 feet now, that's not enough. 15 feet now. And they said just the other day, in fact, we did this last week, they talked about the fact that 15's not enough, 20's not enough, 25. Because if we get another similar storm like we did with Ida just a couple of years ago, that if it moved just a little bit more to the west, we'd have had 20, 25 feet to deal with. And so you're exactly right. What a great point, that we're never really satisfied, right, with the height of those levees and the strength of those locks.
Absolutely.
And we're just really excited about being able to prevent against that. And we appreciate the fact that those people who work here with the council are always thinking about that, always open to making sure that people are prepared. And what people can do at home, clear out your ditches, right?
Yes. Yeah,
clear out your gutters.
Yep, clear out all your storm drains and catch bases and things like that. I know a lot of people have been cutting grass lately. Just make sure you don't have any grass on the road or near those storm drains. That's real important too, and just to help the whole process. But hopefully we don't get too much bad weather or too much rain. But if we do, and if we do have any localized street flooding or anything like that, call your council person or call Earl Hughes's office and make sure you report that, because that's real important.
Just coming off of Easter always kind of makes me think what people do and what their Holy Week is like. Tell us a little bit about what your Holy Week was like.
So, last week, obviously, the kids were still in school.
Right.
So Good Friday, we always have a big family get together. We had a big crawfish boil, and there was a water slide and things, and it was freezing cold.
Right.
The kids still did all those things.
Yeah, a little north wind blowing, right?
Yeah. And then, Easter Sunday is really kind of laid back. We go to Mass, and Mass was really nice because we did the 9:00 Mass, and the bishop actually did the Mass.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a very, very nice service. And so we do that as a family, and then we cook a big meal and have our family over. And so it's nice, and my kids get their baskets and things like that. And then we just kind of relax the rest of the day. And then this week, we really didn't make any plans because it turned out to be a council week. And so I had to be here for council. And my original intention was to let my kids swim all week.
Right.
However, the weather has just way too awful for us to be able to let them do that. And so they're just kind of hanging at home, playing Nintendo Switch and, playing Legos and things like that, and just, relaxing, I guess.
And so it was really interesting. Your family and mine are very, very similar in what we do. But it was my wife's birthday this week. And so happy birthday, honey. Another happy birthday. She gets the whole month, by the way. She gets the month of April. But for us, Holy Week's a really big deal for my parents. And so for a little bit of that older generation, even though they're, the church doesn't necessarily require them to do certain things, they have a full week. On Monday, they have something special. Normally, they have somebody that comes in to the church that does something motivational, and they do that on Monday. Tuesday, we did one of my wife's celebrations for her meals with my parents. But on Wednesday, they have the Seder meal. And that's something that they normally do. And Thursday night, a lot of the churches do a washing of the feet, just in simulating that. And then, of course, on Friday, Good Friday, my parents go to the Way of the Cross, and some do the benediction of the cross as well. And that's a big event. And then Holy Saturday, for me and my family, was 4 birthdays celebrating. So we did crawfish on Saturday. And then Sunday, when we went to Mass, much like y'all did, one of the things that the bishop just reinstated is being able to celebrate both the bread and the wine at Mass. So did that take place as well?
It did not take place at St. Francis.
Okay,
no.
Very interesting. And so it was that's one of the things that they just changed as of Easter Sunday. And so it was just one of those things that we talked about with Father Joey, and so how that's just a new implementation, and people can participate or not. I would be very interested to see. There was only about 10% of the people in Mass, and we went Sunday evening, so I think it was a directive that they did after lunch on Sunday.
Okay.
But it was interesting, only about 10% of the people did that, and it's just, it goes back to what we're dealing with kind of post-COVID, post-Ida, how things are changing. But here we talk about these weather systems and how that affects what can happen for your kids this week, right? It's really been impacting a lot of our festivals and things that are going on. But we've got a lot of those here of late.
We do, and we have a lot more coming up. I mean, it's been a really busy spring. I feel like every weekend we've had something, but those things are always so much fun just to be part of our community and get out and be in front of people. I think it's really fun. And then, coming up this month and next month, we have 4 big ones.
Right.
So we have the Pirates and Boots Festival, which is going to be at the downtown marina, which is really fun. They have real pirates. I mean, it really is
really
super,
cool. Pirates on boats,
Yeah,
right?
It's really cool. And then the Ladybug Ball is coming back.
It's so exciting.
Yes, so we haven't had the Ladybug Ball in I don't even remember how long it's been. It's been years.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know I never even brought my children to it. That's how long it's been.
Oh, right.
Yes. And then a new festival is going to be the May the 4th Festival.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
On May the 4th.
On May the 4th, yes. May the 4th is a Friday. And so that's going to be in downtown Houma, and that's going to be a really, really fun event. They did one last year at Zach's because it is Joe Boudreaux in that group who's putting that on, and Randy who's putting that on. And so they're actually going to move that festival to downtown. They were hoping that the new Boulanger Street Plaza would have been open for that, but with weather and
delays, you mentioned,
and
and
how contractors
delays,
are,
right?
it takes
Sure.
so that has been pushed back a little bit, but it is looking really, really beautiful down there.
It really is.
And then what I'm very excited about is we're going to have the inaugural Louisiana Blackberry Festival in Houma Heights subdivision, which is actually on the east side underneath the Twin Spans. So there's a park down there.
Right.
And so we're going to have an inaugural. And so that's going to be really exciting because who would have thought we didn't have a blackberry festival in Louisiana?
With all the blackberries we have down here.
Yes. So that's going to be a really fun event. You'll be able to taste I think there's going to be blackberry wine and blackberry daiquiris, and of course every blackberry dish you can possibly imagine.
Blackberry dumplings for sure.
Yes. And I know they're going to have blackberries available, very similar to the Louisiana Strawberry Festival, which is actually this week.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's going to be a really exciting one for us. We're very much looking forward to that festival.
A lot of things going on. We're just talking about some of the festivals. I guess I would be remiss. You mentioned so much going on this time of year. Just on April the 1st, a couple of weeks ago, we had 3 or 4 different big events going on at the same time. And it's really nice when we can kind of celebrate that and enjoy that and be able to kind of really focus on getting back out and enjoying that time. We missed it for so long. It's so nice to be able to get out and enjoy those.
Well, yeah, and we are rebuilding. We were, hit by this storm that just devastated us, and I know we all know it, but I've really been focusing on rebuilding communities and how can we rebuild communities, whether it's brick and mortar or it is actually the foundation, which is the people. And so that is how we do those things is, just have these events, have these get-togethers. I hosted a Easter egg hunt with some help of some neighbors, of course, in my neighborhood, and we had almost 75 kids there. It was unbelievable just to see that camaraderie and to see the joy in people's faces and people actually coming out and being together. And that really what this is about is let's build our communities and even if it's just having these small events, I think it's so important.
Well, I got to see the smaller version of that. I was leaving to go and visit with one of my friend's dad who's older and just can't get out as much. And so I went to visit with them in the afternoon yesterday. And as I was leaving the neighborhood, there was 4 kids in probably an area where all 75 of the kids who were out doing that Easter egg, and they hid Easter eggs in the field. And I just thought, that's what we're about. That's what South Louisiana culture is about. That's certainly what Terrebonne Parish is about. And it was I agree with you. So I echo that sentiment. I stopped for a second. In fact, there was a car behind me going, what are you doing? I just waited because I was just watching these kids have so much fun. So a great deal of joy brought to those people, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And so I know one of those things that people are always asking, they come to you and, For me, people complain, oh, the roads are so bad. We need help with the roads. Why won't you do something? And then when they're trying to fix them, people are complaining about the traffic. It's almost a no-win situation. But we've had some lanes just redone here in your district, right?
Yeah, so I have noticed this past weekend and this past week, there's been a lot of road striping happening. And I think that that's something that's been a complaint for several years. And we just didn't have the proper equipment. And so now they're able to get out and stripe those roads. And so hopefully we'll see that parish-wide and we get a lot of those road stripes because that is so important for safety, especially kind of moving forward.
Well, and listen, not only that, I can tell you it's really interesting as time goes by and the older I get, the more advanced technology is. I now have only 2 vehicles at the home. Both of my vehicles have these lane adjustments. And so if the roads are striped, my car can stay on the road by itself without the person behind the wheel. Mm-hmm. You know, if by chance something happens, it can adjust for me and help. And some people like those, some people don't. But I will tell you, with having those lanes there and being able to have all of those things done and brightly done and well done, it keeps everybody safe, even the ones that aren't paying attention.
Absolutely, and I know we're just outside of Main Street, and it seems like it's been down to 1 lane for about a month or 2 months.
Yes,
it seems like forever, but that's an LADOTD project.
Yes,
and you actually are going to see a lot more LADOTD projects in the near future because they have a lot scheduled starting in May, and so they're going to start. So you're going to see a lot of that, and so. Bear with us. I mean, when the state comes and says we're going to fix your roads, when we want to greet them with open arms, and so it's going to be a little bit of a headache, but it's just temporary pain, just to get to where we need to be as far as those roads getting better.
And it's one of the things that people are asking about all the time. People are always asking, better roads, better schools, and better safety, and those things all go together, and we're working on that. And so I know. As we work on those things, coming up, we don't have a whole lot to go over with this meeting coming up. Thank goodness.
Thank
right?
goodness, yes.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
Isn't that nice?
Let's
As the
keep
council chair for the council meeting, not to have so many subject headings, but just a couple of minutes on that.
Yeah, let's keep things slow through about November 1st.
Seems like a very important date there, Jessica.
Well, that is a very important date. But no, let's focus on the actual work that we need to be doing, and so we are, and sometimes the agendas, they're just a little bit lighter than others. So you'll see a lot of proclamations on Wednesday night. We have a few speaker cards coming in. A few people want to discuss some issues that they are concerned with. And anybody can do that. Anybody can come or call me or call our office and ask to be put on the agenda to discuss whatever it is that they're concerned about. And so that is something. So we've got a few of those this week, but other than that, it's basically just general business.
Well, and again, that's a wonderful thing to have, to be able to kind of just do general business. It means that people aren't so really hot and bothered, if you will, about certain subjects, and that we're doing well. Right? It's one of those determining factors. Less calls means things are going a little bit better. And you can kind of stick to that subject matter, stick to kind of the changes that y'all need to make, the proclamations that need to be made, and kind of do that. So that's exciting.
Absolutely. It's good. It's good.
Less is more sometimes. This is that example.
You were
Penny
right
used
about
to say that all the time. And so, Jessica, we thank you so very much, not only for what you do for the community, but coming on and helping us understand and explain to us some of the things that are happening. So
thank you for having me.
All right. And that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. But don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming right here on HTV.